Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Business Lab with Dean. I am here with an old friend of mine, Eddie Nabhan, who owns a family entertainment center in Lake Worth, Florida. And Eddie, I've known you for a very long time. I used to
Yes.
actually, I used to play pool at Fun Depot when I was a teenager, and there was this one pool table that it only cost 50 cents. All the other ones cost 75 cents. And so that one, because it was slightly janky, it jammed a lot. And so we would have to call the owner to come fix it. And the owner would send this little kid out from behind the counter. He was like 8 or 9, and he would come fix the pool tables. And Eddie, you are that little kid, all
I was
grown
that
up.
little kid. I was that little kid, and I am a little older now. I wish I remembered anything from when I was 8 or 9, especially you playing pool at Fun Depot. I do remember working. I do remember unjamming the pool tables.
So
But
it was in the front Fun Depot, because Fun Depot is a large building with a huge footprint now. But when it was first starting, when your dad first started it, it was in that front shopping center,
yeah,
and so that's where the pool tables were.
yes,
Do you
yes,
still have pool tables?
absolutely not.
Why?
I mean, I don't know what this says about you, but we just don't like the customers that it attracts.
Don't feel bad, Eddie. I don't like the customers that pool tables attract either.
I mean, I like pool and I enjoy playing. We just, I mean, $1.50 or $2 or $2.50 a game that takes 15 or 20 minutes is not a good business model.
It's not a
Unless you
good
have,
return.
it's not a good return unless you have something you're selling in addition to it that does have a good return.
Right, exactly. Which at the end of the podcast, we'll talk about that, because you're kind of moving in that direction.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about what it is that Fun Depot is, and what it is that you do, and kind of how you got into all of this.
Well, Fun Depot is a family entertainment center. That's our sort of designation, FEC for short. We are a reasonably large one at this point. We have 25,000 square feet under air. We have about a half-mile go-kart track outside, 3,500 square feet of laser tag inside, and about 200 games, a variety of games. We've got a really big game room. We have video games that drivers, like driving games. We've got big Star Wars games, virtual reality games, and all the ticket games as well, like the games that you play when you're trying to get tickets to earn prizes and get your kids to go home with a king size candy bar or something like that. Giant stuffed animal.
I love it. So how I may have answered this already, but how did you get into this?
It's been in my family for a long time. My dad started this place in 1988. He moved down from Connecticut, and there was a piece of property that needed developing, and he developed it, put a 15,000 square foot building on it, and started Fun Depot in one of the little spaces in there. It was probably about 3,000 square feet at the time. That was in 1988. In 1992, he added go-karts. 96, he built a 15,000 square foot building. 2001, he added 10,000 square feet to that building, brought laser tag in. And like Dean said, I've been working here since I was 8, 9, 10 years old. Left for college, graduate school, decided business was what I wanted to do. And there was a fairly large business to run. I mean, a fairly large small business to run.
Mm-hmm.
So I came here to do that.
So Fun Depot kind of it sort of runs in my family too. I worked at Fun Depot in college. I was in the batting cages, and that was one of my favorite jobs, because I could literally, my whole job was to hand someone a bat and then read books.
Yes,
it was great. I loved that job. And then
I don't. Yes.
and my nephew worked there for a long time. Eric. So my
Very
goal
good.
is to get one of my kids to also work at Fun Depot. I don't know how. I don't know how I'm going to manage that. Uh, seeing that I'm in Nashville, but it will happen at some point in the future. I promise.
Summer internships.
Yes, I'll send them down. They can live with you.
Okay, you can live with me.
So when you left graduate school, what was your decision-making process in going to work for the family business? Because that's hard. There's a lot of like personal stuff and like how did that happen?
It is hard. There is a lot of personal stuff, uh, different ways of doing things, different understanding of how business should operate. I was actually in graduate school in seminary, and about halfway through, I was working at a church and felt just didn't it didn't feel right. And I loved part of what I did, but part of what I did I did not like. And week in and week out, kind of the same routine. And actually went through they make you do a psych evaluation. And it was during that evaluation where the person that I was working with was like, this, I, because we did a bunch of personality stuff, a lot of tests and things. And then she spent like half a day talking to me. And she goes, I just want you to think about this because you've got a very entrepreneurial understanding. And I'm just not sure that the typical church is where you should be. And I was like, and it just kind of echoed all of the things I was feeling at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I started shifting my perspective and thinking about business and running a business and doing kind of our own thing. And Becca, my wife, and I started talking about that. And then initially, I mean, my parents were getting older and really needed help and didn't, my parents are of a different generation, obviously, and did everything themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Were here every hour of every day that it was open.
Yes, they were.
So and so we decided that coming down here and helping run, at least for a season, was the right move for us. And
Mm-hmm.
we just decided that in 2004. And it's 2022.
I was going to say, it's been a long season, Eddie.
It has been a long season. We've added some things that we do. It's not just this, but this has been good.
That's awesome. And you're one of the few second generation business owners that I feel like actually has ownership of the business at an intellectual and emotional level. I know a lot of second generation business owners that are just riding on daddy's or mommy's coattails, and you are not doing that.
Right. Yes.
Is that conscious?
I would hope so. Yeah. It's not a thing that, I mean, for me, I think that as you are running a business or as you are giving stewardship over something that you should do your best to grow. Mm-hmm. You should do your best to implement efficiencies and make it run better and care about the people that work for you. And so it's taken a while for us to kind of work through some of the family stuff and to get to a place where we are about to grow. We're about to double in size, and we can talk about that later or whenever you want. But mm-hmm. I mean, I've really worked hard to try to put that stuff in there. And I was thinking about this the other day, but coming in 2004, thinking about from my dad starting in 1988 and then me coming in 2004, like I've been in the business just as long as from when he started to when I took over.
Oh, wow.
And
I've
implemented a lot of stuff in that time that has given us more control, more operational understanding, more better training, better staff, better leadership, all of those things. I think. I mean, it seems better to me. Maybe I'm just biased.
No, I think you've done an amazing job. And so, speaking of doing an amazing job, from a very high level, what is it that you are trying to give people when they come visit Fun Depot?
We are trying to give folks a fun, entertaining time to spend with their families, or or significant others. I mean, we have a lot of folks that come in that are on a date,
Mhm.
married folks, or first dates or third dates, and we just want people to come in, enjoy our place, have fun playing the games, enjoy whoever they're being with by playing with each other. And we have such cool games that allow for that. One time we had our fantasy football draft. I know it's fantasy season. I'm not big into fantasy sports, but one time we had our fantasy football draft. We order determining thing at Fun Depot, and so we
Mhm.
picked 10 games. Everybody competed at those 10 games, and then we kind of slated where did you how did you score at each of those things. Then we averaged it all together, and that's how we determined who got to pick first in their fantasy draft. And we
Oh,
had
that's
like
cool.
the best time. And so that's kind of the atmosphere we're trying to present for families or birthday parties or groups. We just want them to come and enjoy being with each other and enjoy the entertainment things that we provide.
That's cool. You know, it's funny, a common theme in a lot of these podcasts that I've done is, especially for people that own a physical space where the public comes, a byproduct of the actual product that they're selling, because you're selling like video game and laser tag and time on the go-karts and that sort of thing, but you're creating an experience, you're creating a community.
Yeah.
And it's it's so interesting that the reason that people focus on your space is not exactly what it is that you're selling. It's the feeling and the community that they get with other people while they're buying what it is that you have to sell.
Yeah. Look, life is hard at times.
Yeah.
There are things that we go through that it's just it's weighty and burdensome and difficult, and we need moments that are fun, and we need
Mhm.
moments that you can go out with your friends or family and kind of forget about those things, even if it's for an hour or an hour and a half, and just make a connection with the people you're with. And we provide that. I want to provide that for people.
That's cool. So, running a business is hard. You have a big business, you have a lot of overhead, you have a lot of space. How do you stay kind of mentally attached to the fact that one, you're selling fun, but also how do you have fun? How do you have fun with it?
uh, that's a good question. It's hard. I mean, this summer was specifically difficult. Staffing in our economy has been tough. We've had a lot of people come in and leave. We've had supply chain issues where I can't get go kart tires, I can't get cards, I can't get video game parts to fix the games on the floor just because they're a month back ordered. And so
Mhm.
I've told people I feel like you're just trying to keep the wheels on the car. It's driving and it's moving pretty quickly, but it's hard to keep the wheels on
Mhm.
at times. I would. It's difficult to stay grounded like that, Dean. It really is. But I mean, when my kids come, they have a great time and they run around and they play and they just don't care about any of that stuff. And I I get texts from friends who come and have a great time, and that part is
Mhm.
encouraging to me.
That's cool. Yeah, I was leaving the house this morning and I was like, I'm doing a podcast with Eddie. And they're like, oh, Fun Depot. I'm like, yeah, because
Yeah,
they know. I mean, they've been to Fun Depot. The first time Aiden drove anything was one of your golf cart or one of your go karts. And I think he crashed it into something he shouldn't have.
sure he did.
And now he drives a real car.
Hopefully not crashing that into anything.
No, no, he's not done that. He's behaved himself pretty well.
Okay.
But yeah, Fun Depot is a lot of fun. I mean, it's a great place, and I think you in particular have done a good job of being conscious of the fun aspect and how to do more. So let me ask you, uh, w- what advice would you give someone getting who's getting ready to start a business, what's the main piece of advice you would give someone?
Hmm. I mean, is there a, I mean, it would depend on what business they're starting.
What would you tell someone who
Probably,
wants to start a family entertainment center?
I would tell them not to do it. No,
That's the most common answer to that question is
I'm
don't do
sure
it.
it is. I mean, this is a high, like you said, this is a high overhead environment.
Mm-hmm.
You're committing to a lot of big purchases,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got to work, or there's a lot of it's just the startup costs are so big that if it doesn't work, you're going to be in serious trouble.
Yeah.
But starting a business, I mean, there's a lot of similarities in all of them. You have to watch your cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be as efficient as possible. The team that you put together is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you start, you go a long time without making any money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I remember being a kid and eating beans and rice for a really long time because that's all we could afford to eat.
Sure.
Um, Starting a business is not easy, but if you don't quit and you keep with it, and it's something that you see the long-term viability, and as you grow, you see that cash flow growing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then you have to like scale as the cash flow grows and put the correct things in place at the right times. And it is complicated, but it's also, I mean, the cash flow thing is pretty simple. Like you can't spend a ton of money if you don't have it.
Right. That's true. That's and people that do spend a ton of money that don't have it, that's where the real problems occur.
Yeah.
Um, so w- n- tell me a little bit about the growth that Fun Depot is going through right now and what that looks like for you.
For a long time, I wanted to make the place bigger and modernize it. And we've put some of those things into place over the last however many years, but just in the past 4 years, we're in a really fortunate position where we own the real estate that we're on. We're
Mm-hmm.
on a 6-acre piece of property. We're not paying rent. I mean, we pay our mortgage. I mean, there's obviously a separate real estate entity that we pay rent to, but
Mm-hmm.
it's self-managed.
Sure.
So the past 4 years, I have redone the whole property, all the parking lot, all the landscaping, irrigation, restriped it, redid all the drainage, big construction project. And we are doubling in size. So we're going from 24,000, we're adding another 24,000 square feet.
Wow.
And we're adding 20 lanes of bowling, full service bar and restaurant. And we're going to be a 50,000 square foot place then. And hopefully
That's
our
amazing.
demographic will widen. We'll have a different, it won't just be families, but it will be more adults and people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that are kind of going out with their friends and want to have a good meal, a few beers, bowl, or play video games.
That's amazing. That's fantastic. And so where's the expansion physically going to occur? Is that
That
on top of the batting cages?
Yeah, the batting cages are gone, Dean. I know that's a
Dude.
sad moment for you. I have some videos of them being demoed I can send to you. But
No, I don't
yes,
want to see that. I'll have trauma.
the batting cages are gone, and it's an extension of our current building. So we'll have a big entrance. It'll be a singular entrance, and you can go kind of wherever you want in our entertainment facility.
That's cool. That's very exciting. When does that happen?
The guys are actually putting drywall up today, so
Wow.
we're making some moves. It's hard to pinpoint an open date with the supply chain the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's very dependent on the arrival of fixtures and equipment and all of those things. I mean, a picture of the supply chain. I ordered our walk-in fridge December 1 of last year,
Oh my gosh.
and it's still not here. And they had an arrival date of September, and now they've bumped it back to November, maybe.
Oh
So
my
can't really
goodness.
open without a walk-in fridge, freezer, beer cooler.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, how can people find out more about you or Fun Depot or all of those things?
We have a website, fundepot.com, Instagram at Fun Depot Inc. INC. We have a Twitter, but they can follow us on any of those places. You come to West Palm ever, we'd love to have you come to our facility and play and enjoy yourself. But fundepot.com is the best way.
Cool. I love it. Well, Eddie, thank you. Thanks for all of your insight and time today. And I'm sure that I will talk to you very soon.
Yeah, I'm sure we will chat, Dean. And I'd like to come on again and just tell stories about Dean. If we can
Okay.
have another session where I do that.
We'll do that. That's going to be next season is talk trash on Dean from everybody from the first season. I love it. All right, Eddie. Thanks, man.
See you, my friend.
See ya.